I was reborn as a snake, and someone had steeped me in medicinal liquor. Inside the jar, I had a few other jar mates. A toad, a gecko, a scorpion, and a centipede. Looks like whoever made this wanted us brewed into Five-Venom Tonic. While I was thinking that, a wave of hunger hit me. Since I could not get out yet, I might as well eat something first. So, choking down my disgust, I swallowed Brother Toad in one gulp. Then I cleaned out the rest of my jar mates too. The weakness in my body vanished at once. Just then, the door suddenly swung open. A middle-aged man walked in. I quickly shut my eyes and pretended to be a dead snake. This Five-Venom Tonic has soaked for half a year. Time to add fresh liquor and seal the jar. By year's end, this jar could sell for enough to buy me a three-wheeler. Muttering, he yanked the red cloth off the jar mouth. His brow instantly knotted. Wait, that is not right. Why is there only one snake left? Where did the others go? The man got ready to open the liquor jar and check. I knew my only chance to escape had come. So the instant the jar mouth opened, I shot my head out. A mouthful of venom sprayed across the man's face. He howled in pain. I seized the chance. I sprang out of the liquor jar and slithered fast toward the door. Outside was an old residential neighborhood. A few miles away lay a stretch of forested hills. As long as I made it in there, I would be like a shark back in open water, finally free. But I would have to cross several busy main roads on the way. In broad daylight, a venomous snake my size crawling down the street would definitely be spotted. Best to wait until dark, then move quietly. Just as I was about to slip into the nearby grove and hide, a savage burst of barking exploded. A waist-high big yellow mutt charged out of the alley, teeth bared and drooling. It barked madly at me. Damn it, when it rains, it pours. I already dropped your owner. What are you doing here? Playing guard dog. I stopped, coiled into an attack stance, and hissed a warning. The big yellow mutt flinched and backed up to steps, but still would not leave. It barked even harder. The screams inside and the barking had already drawn nosy neighbors to their doors. I could not waste any more time. I faded left, pretending to strike, and waited for the instant it dodged right. Then I sprayed a mouthful of venom in its eyes. The big yellow mutt reacted fast, jerking its head aside so only a few drops splashed its nose. It yelped in pain, tucked its tail, and bolted. I took the chance, turned, and darted into the grove. I found a hidden tree hollow and slipped inside. A while later, sirens and fire trucks sounded outside. Did you hear? The snake from Mr. Walter's medicinal liquor got loose and blinded him with venom. That is creepy as hell. It soaked for half a year and was still alive. My heart gave a hard thump. 10 minutes later, footsteps and barking came from outside the woods. 6 firefighters came in carrying steel forks, sacks, and 2 German shepherds. They were searching straight toward me. The dogs had their noses to the ground. They had clearly locked onto my scent. I needed a better hiding place. I looked around and spotted a pitch-black hole not far away. I slipped inside without hesitation. A snake's night vision really lives up to the hype. To my eyes, the dark cave was bright as day. After crawling about 15 feet in, I suddenly stopped. Deep in the hole, a corn snake about my size lay curled up. It was sound asleep, its body ice-cold, still hibernating. It knew nothing about the commotion outside. Looking at it, an evil thought crept into my mind. Was this not a ready-made scapegoat? Sorry, brother. It is not that I am cruel. If they catch me, I will not just be dissected. I will end up stuffed as a specimen. Rest easy, every year on this day. I will offer you the biggest rat I can find. I slithered over silently and bit its neck before it woke. Then I injected just enough venom. The corn snake jerked once, then quickly went still. I dragged its body to the entrance and left a short bit of tail sticking out. Then I hid around the bend and held my breath. Soon, the 2 dogs rushed to the hole and barked into it like crazy. One shoved its head inside, clamped onto the corn snake's tail, and dragged it out. Got it. The firefighters shouted excitedly. The dog hauled the whole corn snake out and flung it onto the ground. One firefighter pinned its head with a steel fork, while another swiftly stuffed it into a sack. Thank God. Finally got it. Hey. Wait. This is a corn snake. It is not venomous. Who cares? We caught it. That is good enough. Mr. Walter probably remembered wrong. The group left, chatting and laughing. Their footsteps and the barking slowly faded away. I collapsed on the ground and breathed a sigh of relief. That little stunt nearly wore me out. I felt a little guilty, but in this world, mercy gets you killed. Still, I did not dare relax. This was still human territory. I had to lay low until midnight, then escape into the deep mountains. I hid in the tree hollow for hours while several more search parties passed through. but none of them found me. When night fell, everything went pitch black. Only the distant streetlights glowed a dim yellow. I stretched my body and prepared to move out. Just then, hunger hit again, fiercer than before. No way, I had to eat before traveling, or I would starve before reaching the mountains. I activated heat sensing and soon spotted a fist-sized heat source in the grass ahead. A fat rat was gnawing on wild fruit. Free delivery right to my door. I lowered my body and crept closer in silence. From 10 feet away, I shot forward and sprayed venom over it. The rat squealed, struggled a few steps, then stopped moving. It looked disgusting, but my stomach was already rioting. I slithered over and forced myself to swallow it. Ding! Detected. Host has devoured a living creature. Infinite evolution system activated. Large rat devoured. Gain 1 energy point. System panel unlocked. A cold mechanical voice rang inside my mind. I froze for 3 seconds, then whipped my snake tail in excitement. A system. I actually awakened a system. So, I had to eat something alive to awaken it. No wonder everything I ate in the liquor jar only filled my stomach. Open the panel. A pale blue virtual panel appeared before my eyes. I looked at the stats on the panel, and my mouth twitched. So right now, I could not even beat an ordinary king cobra. No wonder I could not even handle a dog earlier. No matter. With the system, sooner or later I would evolve into the king of snakes. By then, forget dogs. I could swallow tigers and lions in one gulp. I twisted my body and crawled toward the deep mountains. On the way, I suddenly wondered if the system had a detection function. The kind that could spot people and prey in advance. Ding! Spend 1 energy point to activate temporary live detection radar. Duration, 1 hour. Yes. The next second, countless glowing dots appeared before my eyes. Blue meant harmless. Red meant dangerous. The larger the dot, the stronger the target. Now that was ridiculously useful. With this, I would never have to fear an ambush again. As I crawled, I swept up small animals along the way. Field mice, wild rabbits, geckos, anything I could beat went straight into my stomach. My energy points climbed fast. Then a yellow dot caught my attention. Wasn't the system only supposed to show red and blue? Curious, I slithered over and found a silver-banded crate. It was coiled on a rock, asleep. That thing was highly venomous and seriously nourishing. I circled behind it, then struck while it was off guard and bit the vital spot behind its head. I injected a heavy dose of venom. The silver-banded crate struggled a few times, then went still. Ding! Silver-banded crate devoured. Gained 12 energy points. Holy crap, the drop rate was that high. Excited, I swallowed it down. For the next 4 hours, I went into full-on feast mode. After a wild feeding spree, my energy points stopped at 400. The hunger finally vanished. System, convert all of it into evolution points. Ding! 400 energy points consumed. Gained 40 evolution points. Looking at the 40 evolution points on the panel, I made the big call. Max out all 5 attributes for me. Evolve. The moment I said it, hard training pain swept through my entire body. My flesh felt like it was being ripped open, and my bones cracked loudly. My whole snake body thrashed and rolled wildly on the ground. 5 minutes later, the pain disappeared. A warm current surged through me. I looked down and saw my body had grown thicker, my scales glossy jet black. They felt hard as stone, and my fangs had grown longer, gleaming coldly. Ding! Evolution successful. Host, Spike. Rank, Beast Rank 5. Speed and stamina doubled. Top speed, 80 kilometers per hour. Next stage, Mutant Beast. I flexed my body, and with a whoosh, shot 7 or 8 meters forward. Then I struck my scales with the rock, and it left only a pale mark. Oh, that felt good. I was no longer that helpless little snake anyone could butcher. Just as I prepared to cross the road ahead, the roar of a sports car came rushing in. A red Ferrari was barreling toward me at 200 kilometers an hour. Its headlights were blinding. With no time to think, I coiled hard and launched myself through the air. Like a bolt of black lightning, I shot across the front of the sports car. What the hell? What was that thing? A snake. The woman in the car was so scared she slammed on the brakes. The tires screamed against the road, throwing up to long streaks of black smoke. Still shaken, she opened the dashcam footage. When she saw the black blur on the screen, moving almost too fast to see, she froze in shock. Then she immediately called the news hotline. The next day, my eyes snapped open, and I saw a huge eagle circling in the sky. Its wingspan stretched over 3 meters, and its talons were like steel hooks. Its gaze was sharp as a blade. This was no ordinary eagle. It was a mutant raptor. I activated the radar at once, while continuing to play dead asleep, trying to kill me. Today, I will show you who the prey really is. The eagle circled a few times, saw no movement, and thought I was asleep. It folded its wings and dove like a cannonball. Its talons went straight for my head. The instant it was about to grab me, I twisted hard and dodged its claws. At the same time, I sprayed venom at its eyes. The eagle frantically beat its wings to dodge, but a few drops still splashed onto them. The venom instantly corroded several small holes in its wings. The eagle let out a shrill cry and lunged at me again in fury. It was terrifyingly fast, and the gale it stirred up nearly forced my eyes shut. I dodged nimbly across the rocks. The eagle's talons struck the stone again and again, throwing off sparks. Deep claw marks were left behind. After several exchanges, my strength began to fade. This could not go on. I had to end it fast. I pretended to be exhausted and let my movements slow. Seeing that, the eagle thought its chance had come and of hard. It meant to peck straight through my skull. Now, I whipped around and lashed my tail hard across the eagle's wing. There was a sharp crack as the bone in its wing snapped. The eagle screamed and lost its balance. I seized the chance, shot forward, and bit into its neck. Then I pumped in every drop of venom I had. At the same time, I coiled around it tightly and squeezed with all my strength. My skill had already upgraded to intermediate constriction, backed by 20 points of strength. Even a wild boar would have its bones crushed. The eagle's bones cracked inside my coils. It struggled for only a short while before going still. I released it and caught my breath. Then I opened my jaws wide and swallowed it down, feathers, bones, and all. Swallowing it whole like that felt awful. If only I had teeth, then I could chew it up first. Detected host's desire for organ modification. Activating organ modification system. Available upgrade, sharp teeth 1000 evolution points. Vocal cords 5000 evolution points. Basic limbs 10,000 evolution points. Human form 1 million evolution points. I stared at all those zeros after human form, my eyes going wide. I could really become human again? But then I looked at the 800 evolution points I had just gained and sighed. I've still got a long road ahead of me. Guess I have to keep eating. Just then, the radar suddenly sounded an alert. A kilometer away, over a dozen red dots were moving quickly toward me. 2 of the dots were especially large. My heart jolted, and I quickly hid in the bushes. Soon, I saw 2 large hunting dogs sniffing ahead of the group. Behind them came 5 men with shotguns and steel pitchforks, each looking mean as hell. So the government had put a $500,000 bounty on me, the venomous snake. Money makes men brave. The 2 hunting dogs had already caught my scent and were running my way. They had numbers, strength, and guns. A head-on fight was suicide. I had to take them down one by one. I quietly circled around to their flank. I saw a tall man farthest from the group, poking through the grass with a stick. "You'll do." I held my breath, slithered silently behind him, then sprang out. I sank my fangs into his palm. The tall man screamed, and his stick fell to the ground. He stared at me in terror and tried to shake me off. I clamped down and refused to let go, injecting venom. "Snake, over here." The others reacted and raised their shotguns, firing at once. Bullets whistled past me and struck the ground, spraying dirt. I released my bite and quickly slipped into the woods. "Number 4. How are you?" "My hand is numb. I can't move it." "Bandage him, quick. That snake venom is nasty." They left a short man to watch the wounded, while the other 3 chased after me. The 2 hunting dogs ran at the front, barking nonstop. I deliberately slowed down and led them into a secluded valley. The trees were so dense here that their shotguns were useless. Once the 2 hunting dogs entered the valley, I suddenly dropped from a tree. I sprayed a mouthful of venom into their faces. The 2 dogs collapsed before they could even yelp, twitching a few times on the ground. Then they stopped breathing. The 3 men behind them heard the commotion and rushed over. Seeing the dogs' bodies on the ground, Scarred Len furiously kicked a rock. "That beast is too damn cunning. I don't even care about the money anymore. I am killing it." I hid in the tree, watching them coldly. When they moved on, I fixed my eyes on the fat man bringing up the rear. I suddenly dropped down and bit into his wrist. The fat man screamed and spun around to strike me. I dodged nimbly and slipped back into the brush. "Fatty." Captain Warren, furious and panicked, fired several shots into the brush. He grabbed his steel pitchfork and was about to charge in, but Scarred Len yanked him back. "Captain, don't be reckless. That beast is intelligent. It wants to lure us in and kill us one by one. We have already lost 2 men and 2 dogs. If we do not leave now, we all die here." Captain Warren panted heavily, his eyes full of bitter reluctance. But he knew Scarred Len was right. He stomped hard and snapped, "Fall back." We will get more men. I refuse to believe we cannot catch it. The two men helped the fat man up and fled in a sorry state. I crawled out of the brush and was about to leave. Then I suddenly caught a strange fragrance. It was so tempting that it made every drop of blood in me boil. I followed the scent. It was coming from the backpack dropped by the wounded tall man. I nudged the backpack open with my head. Inside were medicine and dry rations. There was also a small red box. When I opened it, a fist-sized red fruit lay inside, crystal clear and glowing. It gave off an alluring radiance. Ding! Rare natural treasure detected. Blood spirit fruit. Effect: devouring it grants 10,000 evolution points and greatly enhances physique. Chance to awaken a new skill. Warning: its potency is extreme. Those with insufficient physique may explode and die after devouring it. 10,000 evolution points? My eyes lit up. With this, I could break straight through to Mutant Beast. Just then, footsteps came from the distance. Crap, they were back. I had no time to think. I clamped the blood spirit fruit in my mouth and fled into the deep mountains. No, that beast stole the blood spirit fruit. Captain Warren's furious roar rang out, followed by a storm of gunfire. A bullet struck my back, knocking off several scales with a bone-deep sting. I ignored the wound and ran for my life. I held the blood spirit fruit tightly in my mouth, not daring to let go. This was my hope of survival. I could not let them take it. I sprinted on, with no idea how long I ran, until the gunshots finally faded. Only then did I slow down. By then, I had lost too much blood and burned through my strength. Darkness kept washing over my vision. I slithered to a small creek and drank a few mouthfuls of water. Then I crawled onto a floating bamboo raft. The moment I got on, my vision went black, and I passed out. The blood spirit fruit in my mouth slipped down my throat by instinct. After who knew how long, I vaguely heard a little girl's voice. It was soft and sweet, like a marshmallow. "Grandpa, come look. There is a big snake on our bamboo raft." Then a man's voice followed. "Good Lord, that black snake is huge. Isn't that the mutant venomous snake from the news? Back away, quick. Do not go near it. Careful, it might bite you." An elderly voice warned. My heart tightened. Damn it, humans have found me after all. I tried to open my eyes, but my lids felt heavy as lead. My body would not move either. Just when I thought I was finished, the little girl's voice rang out again. "Grandpa, Dad, do not be scared. Look, it is bleeding. It is hurt. Poor thing. Let us save it. Maisie, do not be silly. That is a venomous snake. It can kill people." The man said anxiously. "It won't," the little girl said firmly. "I can feel it. It is not a bad snake. It is in so much pain right now. It does not have the strength to bite anyone, and it feels like it is crying." I froze inside. She could feel my emotions. After a while, I felt someone gently prod my body with a stick. When I did not react, the old man sighed. "Fine. Since you want to save it, Maisie, we will take it home. But promise Grandpa you will never touch it. Understand?" "Thank you, Grandpa." I knew Grandpa was the best. I felt myself being carefully lifted with a stick. Then I was placed into a bamboo basket. The basket was hoisted onto someone's back and carried forward, swaying as they walked. After who knew how much longer, I was set down somewhere warm. Someone spread herbs over my back, and a cool sensation seeped in. The pain eased a lot. I sank back into sleep. In my dreams, a powerful energy erupted inside me. It kept repairing my body and rewiring my energy pathways. I felt as if even my soul was ascending. After who knew how long, the pain vanished. My eyes snapped open, a sharp gleam flashing through them. Ding! Breakthrough successful. Mutant Beast. Remaining Beast Essence, 15 years. Host, Spike. Species, Divine Mutant King Cobra. Telepathic communication enabled with humans who possess special abilities. I moved my body and found the wound on my back had completely healed. There was not even a scar. I looked around and realized I was in a farmhouse courtyard. Vegetables grew in the yard, and a few old hens pecked at the ground. From the nearby house came the voices of the little girl and the old man. "Grandpa, why is the big snake not woken up yet? I already got chicken ready for it. Soon. It was badly hurt, so it needs to sleep a few more days." "Okay." The little girl's voice was full of disappointment. Warmth stirred in my heart. I never expected such kind people to exist in the survival of the fittest world. I twisted my body and crawled out of the bamboo basket. The old hens saw me and panicked, clucking wildly as they flapped their wings and scattered. What was that sound? The old man came out of the house. When he saw me, his face went pale with fear. He yanked the little girl behind him into his arms and turned to run. "Grandpa, Do not run. The little girl poked her head out from his arms, and her eyes lit up when she saw me. The big snake is awake. I stopped and gently waved my tail at them, signaling I meant no harm. At the same time, I tried using telepathy to send my thoughts to the little girl. Hello. Thank you for saving me. The little girl froze, then jumped up in delight. The old man looked baffled. Maisie, what are you talking about? Grandpa, the big snake really can talk. It is thanking me for saving it. The little girl said excitedly, then turned to me again. Hello, big snake. My name is Maisie Miller. What is your name? My name is Spike. Spike? That name is so cute. Maisie giggled. Grandpa, look. He really is not a bad snake. The old man looked at me, half believing and half doubting. Only when he saw I truly had no intention of attacking did he slowly relax. He sighed. I never thought talking snakes were real. Maisie has been able to communicate with animals since she was little. Seems she was telling the truth. Only later did I learn that Maisie's parents worked far from home. They had not come back in years. Since childhood, she and Grandpa Miller had only had each other. She was born able to understand animals, but someone as smart as me, who could actually chat with her, was a first. The next few days were the happiest since my rebirth. Every day, Maisie brought me delicious food, stewed chicken, and braised meat. She kept switching things up to help me recover. Whenever she came, we could talk all afternoon. I told her about my adventures in the mountains, and how I escaped from the liquor jar. I told her how I fought the eagle. She listened without even blinking. She also told me about the village, and about her life with Grandpa Miller. She said her greatest wish was for her mom and dad to come back and stay with her. Every time she said that, her eyes turned red. Watching her, I silently swore in my heart, I would protect this kind little girl, no matter what. But peaceful days never last long. One day, Maisie's father, Gabe Miller, came back from the fields with a livid face. This is bad. A wild boar tore up our vegetable plot. All the vegetables we worked so hard to grow are gone. When Grandpa Miller heard that, he hurried after him to the fields. When they came back, both of them looked grim. It was not just our place. Several families in the village had their fields rooted up too. That wild boar was as big as a calf, with red eyes. It had definitely mutated, said Gabe Miller. Then, what do we do? Maisie was so anxious she nearly cried. Those vegetables were our family's food. What can we do? The government will not let us kill wild boars. They say they are protected animals. All we can do is swallow the loss, Gabe Miller said helplessly. Over the next few days, that boar grew bolder and bolder. It not only tore up vegetable plots, it barged into yards to steal food and injured the villagers. The whole village was on edge. Once night fell, no one dared go outside. Seeing Maisie and Grandpa Miller so worried made my chest feel heavy. They saved my life. I could not just watch them get bullied. So I said to Maisie, Maisie, tell them, I can help you kill that wild boar. Maisie's eyes lit up. Really? Spike, you are amazing. But that boar is really vicious. Relax. It cannot beat me, I said confidently. Now that I was a mutant beast, forget one mutant boar. Even 10 of them would be easy for me to handle. Maisie quickly relayed my words to Gabe Miller and Grandpa Miller. Both of them were stunned, staring at me in disbelief. I gave them a gentle nod. Gabe Miller was so moved he nearly knelt before me. Lord Serpent, thank you for helping us. If you can get rid of that boar, our whole family will keep a shrine to you forever. Early the next morning, after saying goodbye to Maisie, I activated the radar. Then I slithered toward the foot of the mountain. I searched for ages, but found no trace of the boar. Fine. In that case, I would lie in wait. Food was scarce in the mountains, so that vegetable plot had to be its target. I hid in the grass beside the field and waited in silence. At noon, the radar suddenly showed more than a dozen red dots moving rapidly this way. My heart jolted. Looking closer, the two at the front were actually Captain Warren and Scarred Len from last time. They just would not stay gone, and they actually dared come back. After devouring the blood spirit fruit, I had eaten plenty of mountain animals too. I had already reached Beast Soldier rank 3. This time, I would not let them leave alive. I quietly followed behind them and listened to their conversation. Captain Warren, this time we brought 10 men and all these guns. We are sure to catch that snake. HMPH. Last time, it got away and even stole the blood spirit fruit. This time, I will skin it, rip out its tendons, and avenge my brother. By the way, Captain Warren, how exactly did your brother die? Wasn't it said he ate the blood spirit fruit by mistake and burst apart? Captain Warren was silent for a while, then said through clenched teeth, no. My brother was killed by the Blackwind Syndicate. They stole the 2 blood spirit fruits we found in the far north. Then they shoved my brother off a cliff and blamed it on the fruit. This time, I am not only catching the snake, I am going after Blackwind for revenge. My heart gave a start. So he was another poor soul too. Just then, the hunting dog up front suddenly started barking like mad. Everyone instantly raised their shotguns and scanned the area warily. Time to strike. I burst out of the grass, my body over 10 feet long blocking the sunlight. A huge shadow fell over them. Captain Warren cried out, "Something's wrong. How did it get so big? Is this that snake's dad?" While they were stunned, I shot forward and went straight for Scarred Len. Scarred Len reacted fast, raising his gun to fire. I whipped my tail across his arm. With a crack, the bone snapped, and the shotgun flew away. I sprayed a mouthful of venom into his face. He dropped without even screaming, dead before he hit the ground. A young man beside him was about to shoot, but Captain Warren grabbed him. "Do not fire. Len is in front." The 2 hunting dogs behind them lunged at me. Without even turning my head, I swept my tail left and right, instantly smashing both dogs' skulls. Brain matter splattered all over the ground. The rest were scared stiff, holding their guns but not daring to move. They all knew I was worth 1 million alive, but only 300,000 dead. I spat out Scarred Len. Then I unleashed an earth-shaking hiss at them. That hiss carried my mental power. The crushing pressure forced them to their knees, howling in agony. In an instant, the entire situation was under my control. Leave no loose ends. Since they dared come to kill me, they had better be ready to die. I sprayed a wide sheet of venom that rained down over them. My enhanced venom was brutally corrosive. Wherever it touched, flesh rotted. In less than a minute, the screams were gone. To be safe, I bit each of them in the neck and pumped in more venom. This time, there would be absolutely no survivors. I tore open their backpacks and destroyed every electronic device. I coiled my tail around the 10 shotguns and the ammo they had brought. I planned to bring them back to Maisie's family. Now that the Aura Awakening had begun, guns were the only way ordinary people could defend themselves. I did not waste the 2 hunting dogs or their rations either. I swallowed them all. I gained 500 evolution points. Now it was time to deal with that boar. I returned to the vegetable plot and kept waiting. Just before sunset, a snorting, grunting sound drifted over. The mutant boar had finally arrived. Sure enough, it was as big as a calf with thick hide, tough flesh to cold gleaming tusks, and blood-red eyes. I shot out of the grass and blocked its path. The boar froze when it saw me, then let out an enraged roar. It lowered its head and charged straight at me. It was fast and powerful, each step making the ground shake. But to my eyes, it moved as slowly as a snail. I slipped aside, dodged its charge, and whipped my tail across its backside. The boar staggered from the blow and nearly fell. Curious, it spun around and charged at me again. I used the same trick, dodging before spraying venom into its eyes. The boar shrieked and clawed at its eyes. I seized the chance, lunged forward, bit into its neck, and injected venom straight toward its brain. The boar struggled a few times, then collapsed with a thud and died. I dragged the boar's corpse and slowly headed back to the village. When I returned, every villager was stunned. They watched me drag a boar bigger than they were, each of them slack-jawed and speechless. Lord Serpent has shown his power. Someone shouted, and the villagers dropped to their knees one after another, bowing toward me. I set the boar down in Maisie's family courtyard. Maisie ran over happily and stroked my head. "Spike, you are amazing. I knew you could do it." Gabe Miller and Grandpa Miller hurried over to thank me too. That night, the village held a grand victory feast. The villagers butchered the boar, and every family received a share of the meat. Everyone now saw me as the Serpent Guardian protecting the village. I thought days like that might last forever, but I never expected a greater danger to be creeping closer. 3 days later, that afternoon, I was sunning myself in the courtyard. Suddenly, dense gunfire, explosions, and human screams rang out in the distance. My heart lurched, and I quickly activated the radar. Dozens of red dots were moving rapidly outside the village. Several of those dots were unusually large, and their strength was actually on par with mine. Not good. It was the Blackwind Syndicate. They had found this place. I rushed into the house at once and called Maisie. "Hurry. Take Grandpa and Dad into the cellar. There are bad people outside." Maisie heard the commotion outside too, and her face went pale with fear. She quickly pulled Grandpa and Gabe Miller into the cellar in the courtyard. I had just closed the cellar hatch when a group of black-clad men stormed into the village. They carried submachine guns and rocket launchers, killing anyone they saw and burning every house in sight. Search every inch. Find that mutant snake and the little girl who can talk to animals. The boss said there is a $10 million reward for capturing them. The bald commander shouted. I hid on the rooftop, watching them coldly. These men were well-trained and heavily armed. They were clearly no ordinary thugs. Just then, one of the men in black spotted the cellar hatch. He shouted excitedly, Boss, there is a cellar here. They must be hiding inside. Good, open it. Several men in black walked over and reached to lift the hatch. Do not hurt Maisie. I leapt down from the roof and sprayed a mouthful of venom. In an instant, those men in black dropped. Over here. The snake is here. The bald commander shouted, and every man in black raised his submachine gun, firing wildly at me. Bullets struck my scales with sharp metallic clinks. They did not even leave a mark. I twisted through the courtyard, dodging nimbly while spraying venom nonstop. One man in black after another went down. This beast hide is too tough. Use the rocket launcher. The bald commander roared. One man in black shouldered a rocket launcher and aimed at me. My heart jolted, and I lunged aside at once. The rocket screamed past and slammed into a nearby house with a boom. The house was blasted into rubble. Through the rolling smoke and dust, I darted over to the man carrying the rocket launcher. With one bite, I snapped his neck. Just then, a powerful presence surged up behind me. I whipped around and saw an old man in a white training outfit standing behind me. He stared at me with icy eyes. The old man looked over 80, but his spirit was sharp and vigorous. He gave off the aura of a mutant beast, and he was beast soldier rank 5, stronger than me. I did not expect this little snake to have become a mutant beast. Fine experimental material, Elder Graves said calmly. But anyone who dares oppose the Blackwind Syndicate has only one road left, death. Why are you trying to capture Maisie? I asked through telepathy. Elder Graves paused, then smiled. You can even communicate telepathically. What a treasure. That little girl is a natural psychic esper. We will take her back and present her to the boss. The boss will be very pleased. With that, he charged at me and threw a brutal punch. The force of his fist howled through the air, cracking the ground beneath it. I quickly retreated and dodged the punch. At the same time, I sprayed venom at him. A layer of golden light rose over Elder Graves, and my venom actually bounced off it. A cheap parlor trick. Elder Graves sneered and lunged at me again. He was terrifyingly fast. I could not dodge, and his fist slammed into my tail. A massive force blasted through me, sending me flying into the wall. I spat out a mouthful of blood. Spike? Maisie's anxious cry came from inside the cellar. Maisie, do not come out. I shouted urgently. When Elder Graves heard Maisie's voice, his eyes lit up. So the little girl is here. Perfect. I can take them both in one sweep. As he spoke, he walked toward the cellar. Do not touch her. I roared, forced myself up from the ground, and threw myself at him with everything I had. I wrapped my body tightly around him and squeezed with all my strength. Let go of me. Elder Graves roared, hammering my body with his fist again and again. Every punch cracked my scales and sent blood streaming up, but I clung to him and refused to let go, pumping every drop of venom into his body. You damn beast. Feeling the venom spread through his body, Elder Graves flew into a rage. He gathered all his power and released a violent shock, blasting me away. I hit the ground hard, my bones feeling shattered, and I could not get up again. Clutching his chest, Elder Graves walked toward me, his face ashen with rage. You have successfully angered me. I will kill you first, then take that little girl back and make her wish she were dead. Just as he was about to reach me, the cellar hatch suddenly flew open. Maisie ran out and spread her arms, shielding me with her own body. Do not hurt Spike. Maisie's eyes were red, but her gaze was incredibly firm. Maisie, come back. Grandpa Miller and Gabe Miller rushed out of the cellar too, trying to pull her back. Well, so this is the little Esper girl. Pretty little thing too. Elder Graves showed a savage grin and reached out to grab Maisie. No, I cried out in despair. The instant Elder Graves' hand was about to touch Maisie, her eyes suddenly turned pale blue. A powerful surge of mental force burst from her, and the stones around her floated into the air. Get away from me, Maisie shouted, and the floating stones shot toward Elder Graves like cannonballs. Elder Graves had not expected Maisie to unleash such powerful psychic force, and he was caught off guard. Several stones smashed into him, forcing him back step after step. What? She actually has an innate psychic physique. Excellent. The boss will reward me handsomely. Shocked and delighted, Elder Graves lunged at Maisie again. Maisie had only just awakened her power and had no idea how to use it. She was about to be caught. At that moment, I focused all my mental strength and launched a psychic shock into Elder Graves' mind. Elder Graves screamed, clutched his head, and crouched on the ground. My psychic shock was not strong, but it caught him completely by surprise. Now, using my last ounce of strength, I shot forward and sank my fangs into his neck. I injected every last drop of venom left in my body. Elder Graves pointed at me, trying to say something, but not a single word came out. His body slowly collapsed to the ground, twitched a few times, and died. I finally let out a breath. Then everything went black and I passed out. I had no idea how long had passed before I slowly opened my eyes. I found myself lying on Maisie's bed, with Maisie slumped at the bedside, watching me through red, swollen eyes. "Spike, you are awake." Thank goodness. When Maisie saw I was awake, she burst into tears from sheer relief. "I am okay now. Do not cry." I gently rubbed against her hand. Just then, Grandpa Miller and Gabe Miller walked in. Seeing me awake, they both breathed a sigh of relief. "Lord Serpent, you are finally awake. You were unconscious for 3 whole days." Grandpa Miller said. "What happened to the men in black?" I asked. "The villagers took care of them all." Gabe Miller said, "Thanks to you and Maisie, or our whole village would be dead." It turned out that while I was fighting Elder Graves, the villagers had rushed out with hoes and sickles. They fought the remaining men in black. Although the villagers suffered many casualties, they wiped out the men in black in the end. "Oh right, Spike," Maisie said. "We found a letter on that old man. It said the Blackwind Syndicate specializes in capturing mutant animals and espers for experiments. This was only the advanced team. A larger force is still coming." My heart sank. This village was no longer safe. "Then, what do we do?" Maisie asked worriedly. "We leave this place," I said. "We go into the deep mountains. Hardly anyone goes there. The Blackwind Syndicate will not find us." Grandpa Miller and Gabe Miller exchanged a glance, then both nodded. They knew staying here meant certain death. "All right, we will pack up and leave tomorrow." Early the next morning, the entire village had packed their things, ready to follow me. After what happened last time, everyone trusted me completely. Just as we were about to set out, a huge bear roar thundered from the distance. My heart jolted, and I opened the radar. A massive red dot was moving toward us fast. "Everyone, be careful. Something is coming." I moved in front of the villagers. Soon, a huge black bear over 3 meters tall appeared before us. Its fur was sleek and glossy, its muscles bulged, and its eyes burned with menace. It also had many wounds across its body, still bleeding. This was another mutant beast, Beast Soldier Rank 4. When the black bear saw us, it roared in fury and charged. "Everyone, hide!" I shouted and rushed forward to meet it. The black bear and I clashed in a brutal fight. The bear was incredibly strong and tough as leather. My venom barely worked on it. After several exchanges, I slowly started losing ground. Just when I was about to give out, the black bear suddenly stopped. It looked at me, its eyes filled with grief and rage. I froze for a second, then tried to reach it through telepathy. "Why are you attacking us? We have not done anything to you." The black bear paused when it heard my voice, then answered through telepathy. "I smelled the Blackwind Syndicate. They killed my cub. I want revenge." So that was it. A wave of sympathy passed through me. "We already killed the Blackwind Syndicate men here," I said. "We are being hunted by the Blackwind Syndicate too. We are heading into the deep mountains to hide." The black bear looked at me, then at the villagers behind me, and the hostility in its eyes slowly faded. It lowered its head and let out a low growl toward me. "Sorry, I misunderstood you." The black bear said, "The Blackwind Syndicate will come again. I cannot beat them alone. You are strong. Can I follow you? I want revenge." I looked at it and my heart stirred. This black bear was no weakling. If I took him in as my bear lieutenant, our strength would rise sharply, and with its blood feud against the Blackwind Syndicate, it would never betray us. "All right, I accept," I said. "From now on, you follow me. I will help you get revenge. From now on, you are Bruno." "Bruno. Good. From now on, I am Bruno," the black bear said happily. Ding. Detected a mutant beast willingly submitting. Established soul brand. Yes. Soul brand established successfully. Soul link communication is now available. Betrayal is impossible. Bruno and I both felt a new connection appear in our minds. With Bruno joining us, the villagers all breathed easier. After a brief rest, we set out. Bruno and I led the way, while Maisie held my tail and stayed beside me. Gabe Miller and Grandpa Miller guided the villagers behind us. Along the way, we ran into plenty of mutant animals, but Bruno and I handled them easily. Bruno's combat power was brutal. One slap from him could kill a mutant wolf. After 3 days of travel, we finally reached the heart of the deep mountains. The mountains were high, the forest dense, and almost no one ever came here. We found a huge natural cave and decided to settle there. The villagers began building shelters and clearing rough land. Bruno and I took charge of hunting and providing food. Maisie taught everyone how to communicate with animals and use them to warn us of danger. Life was hard, but everyone was happy. One day, I was training outside the cave. The system suddenly issued an alarm. Ding! Warning! Aura has reached its upper limit. Break through as soon as possible or your body will explode. My heart jolted. I quickly found a hidden valley and had Bruno guard the entrance. Then I began my breakthrough. A massive aura storm erupted inside me, as if my body were being torn apart. The storm also drew nearby beast. A pack of mutant wolves gathered outside the valley. They watched like starving predators. They knew that if my breakthrough failed, my body would be the perfect feast. I gritted my teeth and desperately guided the aura against the bottleneck of beast general rank. I thought of Maisie, of the villagers, and of my adoptive parents. I could not die. After a burst of lightning and thunder, the pain vanished. An unprecedented power surged through my entire body. Ding! Breakthrough successful. Mutant beast, beast general rank 1. Remaining beast essence, 35 years. New skill awakened, psychic illusion realm. Targets with weaker mental strength than the host have a 50% chance to fall into an illusion through eye contact. Dreams may be woven at will. Congratulations, boss. Bruno's voice rang in my mind. He was happy for me too. Outside the valley, the wild wolves saw this and turned tail in terror. But a few fearless idiots still hesitated. Bruno, take care of the stragglers. You got it, boss. Bruno charged out and flattened those wolves in a few blows. Perfect. Lunch was served. I returned to the cave and told everyone the good news about my breakthrough. The villagers all cheered. Maisie ran over and stroked my head. Spike, you are getting stronger and stronger. Are you the strongest in the world now? I smiled. Not yet. There are definitely stronger monsters in these deep mountains. But I will keep getting stronger. I will protect all of you. Just then, dense gunfire and explosions sounded in the distance. My heart jolted, and I opened the radar. Dozens of miles away, over 100 red dots were locked in fierce battle. A few of those dots had actually reached beast general level. Not good. The Blackwind Syndicate's main force was here. My expression changed. Everyone tensed up. Spike, what do we do? Maisie tugged my tail and asked worriedly. I took a deep breath, my gaze turning rock steady. Do not be afraid, I said. This time, we are not running. We strike first. I looked at Bruno. Bruno, take the villagers deep into the cave. Without my order, no one comes out. Boss, I want to go with you. Bruno said urgently. No. I shook my head. You stay here and protect Maisie and everyone else. That is an order. Bruno hesitated, then nodded. All right, boss, you have to be careful. Do not worry. I rubbed Maisie's head. Maisie, wait for me. Spike, you have to come back safe. Maisie said, holding back tears. I nodded, then turned and became a streak of black lightning. I shot toward the direction of the gunfire. Blackwind Syndicate, for what you owe me, Bruno and everyone you murdered. Today I am making you pay back every last cent with interest. I moved fast through the forest and soon reached the battlefield. The Blackwind Syndicate was locked in a fierce fight with a group of mutant animals. Blackwind had plenty of espers and modified humans, while the mutant animals also had several beast general level leaders. Both sides were tangled in a brutal stalemate, with heavy casualties everywhere. I hid up in a tree and watched coldly. Let them wear each other down, then clean up afterward. Once both sides were battered, I would make my move. Just then, I spotted a familiar figure. It was Captain Warren. He was actually among the Blackwind Syndicate's ranks. I looked closer and saw Captain Warren's vacant eyes and stiff movements. He was clearly under psychic control. Not good. At that moment, a woman in a black coat stepped out from the Blackwind ranks. She was beautiful, but her eyes were ice-cold. Powerful mental force radiated from her. She was a psychic esper. Her strength had reached Beast General Rank 3. You useless trash. You cannot even handle a few beasts. The woman spoke coldly, then raised her hand, releasing a powerful wave of mental force. Those mutant animals were instantly controlled by her and began slaughtering one another. Do you see? This is the power of a psychic. The woman said smugly. Soon, the whole world would belong to the Blackwind Syndicate. My heart sank. This woman was far too dangerous. If she discovered Maisie, the consequences would be unthinkable. I had to take her out first. I gathered all my mental strength and launched a psychic illusion realm attack into her mind. The woman was still gloating when she suddenly sensed the psychic intrusion. Her expression changed, and she hurried to resist. But my mental strength was stronger than hers, and I had caught her off guard. In an instant, she fell into the illusion I had woven. Inside it, countless venomous snakes surged in from every direction, tearing into her body. She let out a shrill scream, clutched her head, and crouched on the ground, writhing in agony. Now, I shot down from the tree and sank my fangs into her neck. Then I pumped a massive dose of venom into her body. The woman did not even manage a scream before she collapsed dead on the ground. With her death, the controlled mutant animals regained their senses. They glared at the Blackwind Syndicate, roared in fury, and charged again. Without their commander, the Blackwind troops fell into chaos. I seized the chance, weaving through the crowd and reaping lives one after another. Captain Warren also regained his senses. He looked at everything around him, then at me, his eyes full of complicated emotion. "Thank you for saving me," he said. "No need to thank me." I asked him why he was here. I pretended to join the Blackwind Syndicate, hoping for a chance at revenge. But they found me out and used drugs to control me. Captain Warren gave a bitter smile. Just then, a massive explosion rang out. The gold-coated commander walked out of the blast. A terrifying aura rolled off him. He was Beast General Rank 5. "You worthless trash. You cannot even handle one little snake." The gold-coated commander spoke coldly, then looked at me. "So you killed my daughter." "So that woman had been his daughter." "That is right," I said coldly. "Your Blackwind Syndicate has committed every evil under the sun and slaughtered innocents. You should have died long ago. You are dead." The gold-coated commander roared and lunged at me. His speed and strength were far beyond mine. After only a few exchanges, he had beaten me bloody and forced me back step by step. "Spike, I will help you." Captain Warren raised his hunting rifle and fired at the gold-coated commander. The bullet struck him, but left only a few pale marks. Pathetic insects, trying to challenge me. The gold-coated commander snorted and casually waved, sending a blast of force into Captain Warren's chest. Captain Warren spat blood, collapsed to the ground, and stopped breathing. "Warren," I shouted in fury. "Now it is your turn." The gold-coated commander walked toward me step by step, his eyes brimming with killing intent. The gold-coated commander walked toward me step by step, his eyes brimming with killing intent. Just as he was about to reach me, a huge bear roar thundered out. Bruno charged over with a group of mutant animals. Turns out Bruno had been worried about me and had brought the villagers here. Maisie ran over too, her eyes turning pale blue as powerful psychic force erupted from her. Together with me, she launched an attack on the gold-coated commander. The gold-coated commander had not expected us to have reinforcements and caught off guard. He was hit by our psychic attack, making his movements lag for a heartbeat. Now, I used every ounce of strength I had, shot forward, and bit into his eye. Then I injected every drop of venom in my body straight into him. The gold-coated commander let out a desperate scream, clutching his head as he rolled on the ground. His body rotted at a visible speed and soon dissolved into a pool of blood. With the gold-coated commander dead, the remaining black-clad men were wiped out by the mutant animals. The battle was over. We had won. I looked at Captain Warren's body on the ground and grief tightened in my chest. Bruno and I buried him, along with everyone who had fallen. After this battle, the Blackwind Syndicate's main force was completely destroyed. I looked at Captain Warren's body on the ground, and my chest ached. This man had lived to avenge his brother, yet even in death, he never got to finish his enemy with his own hands. Bruno and I dug a deep pit with our claws, then laid Captain Warren and all the fallen villagers and mutant animals to rest inside it. Maisie crouched before the grave and gently placed a bunch of freshly picked wildflowers on the mound. Her tears fell drop by drop into the dirt, leaving tiny dark stains. "Spike, are they never coming back?" Maisie asked through sobs, her little hands gripping my tail so tightly her knuckles turned white. I rubbed my head against her cold hand, my chest tight with helpless grief. I used to think that in the survival of the fittest world, as long as I was strong enough, I could protect everyone I wanted to protect. But now I understood. Even the sharpest fangs cannot stop a bullet from nowhere. Even the hardest scales cannot shield every life you cherish. Do not be sad. For the first time, I spoke in human language, my hoarse voice like sandpaper scraping wood. It carried the raw awkwardness of newly evolved vocal cords. After devouring the gold-coated commander, I had gained a full 50,000 evolution points. The first thing I did was exchange them for vocal cords. I had wanted to speak to Maisie out loud for so long. I just never thought my first words would come at such a heartbreaking moment. Maisie suddenly lifted her head, her eyes round with shock, even forgetting to cry. "Spike, you can talk." The surrounding villagers and Bruno were stunned too, each of them staring at me with mouths wide open. Their jaws were practically on the ground. Bruno scratched his furry head and said in his deep telepathic voice, "Boss, you can actually speak human now. That is awesome. Now I will not have to burn brain power just to chat with you anymore." I nodded, looked at their exhausted, wounded faces, and said in a low voice, "The Blackwind Syndicate may be gone, but this world has changed completely. The aura awakening is speeding up. More mutant animals will appear, and they will only grow stronger. And there will be more monsters like Blackwind, treating mutant beasts and espers as lab specimens. We cannot keep hiding in this little cave. We need a truly safe place. We need to build a home of our own." Everyone fell silent. They looked at the cave walls blackened by war, then at the women holding children beside them. They looked at the elders leaning on canes, as confusion in their eyes slowly hardened into resolve. "Lord Serpent, we will follow your lead." A young villager with a bandaged arm shouted, "If it were not for you, we would have died at the Blackwind Syndicate's hands. Wherever you go, we go." "That is right. We are with you. Following Lord Serpent is our only way to survive." Looking at those faces full of trust, a burning warmth surged through my heart. Before, I was just a little snake who had escaped a liquor jar and wanted to survive, but now, I had people to protect, and a heavy responsibility on my back. We spent a full day packing our gear and gathering all the food we could carry. Before we left, I went once more to Captain Warren's grave. I placed the dagger we had taken from the gold-coated commander on his grave. "Warren, rest easy. The Blackwind Syndicate is finished. Your brother has been avenged. From now on, I will watch this world in your place. I will not let more people suffer the way you did." After saying that, I turned and led the group away. I activated the life detection radar and cleared the way up front, while Bruno carried the heaviest luggage in the rear. Maisie walked in the middle, using her psychic power to communicate with the small animals along the road. She asked them not to attack us. Along the way, we met many displaced people. There were farmers whose villages had been destroyed by mutant beasts, and espers who had escaped from laboratories. There were also small trade caravans hunted by the Blackwind Syndicate. As long as they were kin-hearted and had done no evil, I let them join us. In just half a month, our group grew from a few dozen people to more than 300. One evening, after crossing a high mountain, a breathtaking valley suddenly appeared before us. Steep cliffs surrounded it on every side, with only one narrow mountain road leading to the entrance. It was easy to defend and hard to attack. A crystal-clear stream curved through the valley, with broad stretches of fertile black soil along its banks. Colorful wildflowers covered the hillsides, and the air was filled with the scent of grass and blossoms. "This is the place." I looked at the valley before me and nodded with satisfaction. "From now on, this place will be called Beast Haven Valley. Here, humans and mutant beasts can live in peace, without fearing pursuit or slaughter. No one will have to wander homeless again." Everyone cheered. The children ran excitedly across the grass. The adults set down their heavy bags, long-lost smiles finally returning to their faces. In the days that followed, all of Beast Haven Valley buzzed with energy. The men cut trees and built cabins, while the women cleared fields and planted grain. The elders took the children to the stream to catch fish and gather wild vegetables. Bruno and I patrolled the valley with several tamed mutant wolves, marking our territory. We drove away mutant beasts with bad intentions, but building a home was far harder than I had imagined. One morning, just as dawn began to break, a villager rushed over in a panic and called for me. "This is bad. The crops in the fields have all been eaten bare." My heart jolted, and I immediately followed him to the fields. The wheat seedlings that had been lush and green yesterday were now nothing but bare stalks. Tiny footprints were packed densely across the ground. Mutant locusts. I crouched down and picked up a locust that had been crushed underfoot. It was as big as a fist, with teeth sharp as knives, able to bite through a wheat stalk in one snap. "What are we going to do?" The villagers were frantic. "This grain is our winter food. If the locusts eat it all, we will starve this winter. Everyone, stay calm." I rose and said in a low voice, "Bruno, take a team to the east side of the valley. Cut down all the mugwort there and bring it back. Its smell can drive off locust. Maisie, use your psychic power to contact every bird in the valley. Have them help eat the locust. I will deal with the locust nest." After saying that, I immediately activated the life detection radar. I quickly found their gathering place inside a pile of rocks on the west side of the valley. It was crawling with mutant locust, a dense black carpet that made my scalp crawl. I took a deep breath and blasted out a huge cloud of black toxic mist. Wherever the toxic mist passed, locusts dropped to the ground, twitched a few times, then went still. But there were just too many locusts. I sprayed toxic mist several times, and still only wiped out a small portion. Just then, a burst of chirping rang out from the sky. I looked up and saw thousands upon thousands of sparrows, swallows, and crows flying in from every direction. Like a dark cloud, they dove at the swarm. They pecked at the locust in a frenzy and cleared out a huge patch in no time. Thank goodness, the birds are here. The villagers all burst into cheers. Bruno also returned with the mugwort and his team, and they set the plants alight. Thick smoke spread over the fields. The remaining locusts caught the scent of mugwort and turned away, fleeing in swarms. At last, we had stopped the locust plague. To thank the birds for their help, Maisie led the children in building many nests throughout the valley. Every day, they scattered grain for them. From then on, those birds became Beast Haven Valley's aerial patrol. Whenever an outside enemy invaded, they would sound the alarm at once. Once the locust plague was solved, we ran into a new problem. The valley's water source had been contaminated by mutant algae. People who drank it got diarrhea. Livestock that drank it fell sick. I took several villagers who could swim and dove to the stream's source, where we found the algae's roots. The algae roots were incredibly tough. Blades could not cut them, and fire could not kill them. In the end, I had to corrode its main root with venom before we fully cleared out the harmful algae. Day by day, Beast Haven Valley began to take shape. Rows of neat cabins stood by the stream, and the fields were filled with vegetables and grain. At the valley entrance, we built a stone wall over 3 meters high, with lookout openings cut into it. More and more people heard Beast Haven Valley's name and came seeking refuge. There was Bianca Snow, a white rabbit spirit healer whose herbs could cure countless illnesses and even counter snake venom. There was Leela Thorn, a plant-controlling esper who could make seeds sprout instantly. She could grow a whole field overnight. There was also Mason Ironwood, a veteran skilled with machinery. He had once worked in an arms factory and could repair all kinds of guns and machines. There was also a group of marmot miners, experts at digging ore, who could carve tunnels in every direction underground. They could also find all kinds of minerals. One day, while I was training in the valley, the system suddenly chimed. Ding. Detected. Host has accumulated 1 million evolution points. Species evolution is now available. Evolve immediately. Delighted, I quickly found a hidden cave and had Bruno guard the entrance. No one was allowed to disturb me. Evolve immediately. The moment I spoke, pain 10 times worse than last time swept through my entire body. My body began growing wildly, stretching from just over 3 meters to 10 meters in an instant. My black scales fell away one by one, replaced by new scales with a dark blue metallic sheen. They felt as hard as steel. My venomous fangs grew longer and sharper, and the venom inside became thicker and deadlier. A single drop could melt a full-grown elephant. What thrilled me most was the pair of tiny spiral horns slowly growing from my forehead. Ding! Evolution successful. Species, Obsidian Dragon Serpent, Ancient Variant. Rank, Beast King Rank 1. Remaining Beast Essence, 100 years. New skills awakened, Cloud Riding, Basic Toxic Miasma, and Draconic Suppression. Organ Modification Sharp Teeth has automatically upgraded to Dragon Fangs, able to tear through steel with ease. Scales have evolved into Dragon Scales, immune to ordinary gunfire. Feeling power surge through me like a raging river, I gave my tail a light flick. The nearby boulders shattered instantly, sending fragments flying dozens of meters away. I tried activating Cloud Riding, and a mass of black misty cloud rose beneath me at once. It lifted me slowly into the air. As I rose higher and higher, all of Beast Haven Valley spread out beneath my eyes. Boss, you can fly. That is so cool. Bruno shouted excitedly below, clapping his bare paws so hard the ground trembled. I landed on the ground, feeling ridiculously pleased with myself. I was no longer that little snake who had crawled out of a liquor jar. Even if the sky fell, I could hold it up. But I never expected disaster to come so soon. That afternoon, I was hunting with Maisie in the forest outside the valley. Suddenly, a piercing scream rang out in the distance. My heart jolted, and I immediately activated the life detection radar. Several kilometers away, more than a dozen red dots were vanishing fast, and one huge red dot was moving wildly. Not good. Someone is in trouble. I immediately had Maisie climb onto my back and activated Cloud Riding. Then I flew toward the place where the screams came from. Bruno charged after us in huge strides. A few minutes later, we arrived at the scene. More than a dozen bodies lay on the ground, all villagers from the small town below the mountain. Their bodies had been torn to pieces, and blood stained the ground red. Not far away, a mutant brown bear over 5 meters tall was gnawing on a corpse. The bear's eyes were blood red, and its fur was as hard as steel needles. It had clearly been injected with berserk serum. The Celestial Alliance did this. My gaze turned cold as I looked at the collar around the bear's neck. A gold Tian insignia was carved into the collar. It was exactly like the Tian insignia token from the Golden Wing Envoy. This is too cruel. Maisie covered her mouth, tears welling in her eyes. These people were innocent. Just then, the mutant brown bear noticed us. It dropped the corpse in its mouth, let out a deafening roar, and lunged at us. Maisie, get behind me. I shielded Maisie behind me and unleashed draconic suppression at the mutant brown bear. Draconic pressure was a unique skill of ancient dragon serpents, with absolute suppression over all beast. The mutant brown bear froze in place, trembling all over, its eyes filled with fear. I seized the chance, shot forward, bit into its neck, and injected venom into its body. The mutant brown bear struggled a few times, then collapsed with a thud and died. Spike, look over there. Maisie pointed at a nearby tree. I looked up and saw a notice posted on it. It read, $100 million for the live capture of the Obsidian Dragon Serpent, or Psychic Esper Maisie. $10 million for useful information, issued by the Celestial Alliance. I tore the bounty notice down and crushed it into a ball. Looks like the Celestial Alliance has already set its sights on us. Blackwind Syndicate's destruction made them notice Beast Haven Valley as a threat. We should hurry back and tell everyone to prepare for battle, Maisie said worriedly. I nodded and quickly returned to Beast Haven Valley with Maisie and Bruno. I immediately gathered all our core members for an emergency meeting. The Celestial Alliance has found us. They will send an army to attack soon. I threw the notice onto the table and said grimly, starting today, the whole valley enters level 1 alert. Mason Ironwood, take your people and reinforce the defenses of the valley entrance. Dig more traps. Leela Thorn, plant thorny mutant brambles at the entrance to form a natural barrier. Bianca Snow, have your people prepare more herbs and antidotes. Bruno, lead all the mutant beasts into a combat unit and be ready to fight at any moment. Yes, everyone answered in unison, without a trace of fear in their eyes. Over the next few days, all of Beast Haven Valley sprang into motion. The stone wall at the entrance was raised to 5 meters, and Mason Ironwood mounted a modified heavy machine gun on top. Below the wall, we dug traps over 3 meters deep and filled them with sharpened bamboo stakes. Leela Thorn planted a dense ring of mutant thorn brambles outside the stone wall. The brambles were as thick as fingers, covered in venomous thorns. One prick, and your whole body would go numb. That night, I was patrolling the valley entrance. Suddenly, a blinding white light flared in the sky. Then came an explosion loud enough to shake the world. Not good. Enemy attack. I immediately sounded the alarm. All the villagers and mutant beasts moved at once. They grabbed their weapons and rushed to their battle stations. Maisie ran over to, holding the handgun Mason Ironwood had given her. Her little face was tense and determined. Maisie, hurry and hide in the cave. It is too dangerous here, I said anxiously. No. Maisie shook her head and said firmly, I am part of Beast Haven Valley. I want to fight with everyone too. My psychic power can help you. I could not talk her out of it, so I let her stay beside me and kept her protected at all times. Soon, more than a dozen black dots appeared in the distant sky. As they drew closer, I saw they were people in black combat suits. They all wore flight packs and carried submachine guns and rocket launchers. Their leader was a man in golden armor with a pair of metal wings on his back. In his hand was a massive sword gleaming with cold light. It was the Celestial Alliance's Golden Wing Envoy. The Obsidian Dragon Serpent truly lives up to its reputation. The Golden Wing Envoy landed on the stone wall at the valley entrance and looked down at me coldly. I am the Golden Wing Envoy of the Celestial Alliance, here by order of the Alliance leader. I have come to capture you and that little psychic Esper girl. Surrender if you know what is good for you, or I will flatten Beast Haven Valley and leave nothing alive. The Blackwind Syndicate worked under you, did it not? I asked coldly. Blackwind Syndicate was nothing but a dog we kept. The Golden Wing Envoy gave a disdainful laugh. I never thought a little snake like you would bite it to death. Still, that saves us the trouble of taking out the trash ourselves. If you want me and Maisie, you get through me first. I suddenly sprayed out a vast cloud of black toxic mist, instantly covering the entire valley entrance. A cheap parlor trick. The Golden Wing Envoy snorted, swept his wings, and a violent gust scattered the toxic mist in an instant. He raised his massive sword and brought it down at me. I dodged fast, and the giant blade struck the stone wall, carving a trench over 10 meters long. Shattered stone flew everywhere, knocking the nearby villagers off balance. Attack! Kill them! The bounty is doubled, the Golden Wing Envoy shouted. The dozen-plus Celestial Alliance troops behind him immediately charged toward the valley entrance. Some sprayed bullets wildly with submachine guns. Others shouldered rocket launchers and fired rockets at the stone wall. "Open fire!" Mason Ironwood shouted. The heavy machine gun on the stone wall roared to life, spraying bullets at the enemy like rain. Leela Thorn also guided mutant thorn brambles up from underground, wrapping around several enemies' legs. Bruno led a pack of mutant wolves and mutant monkeys charging out of the valley. They crashed into the enemy and fought them in close combat. The battle instantly turned white-hot. The Golden Wing envoys to deputies joined the fight as well. One was a fire-wielding Esper, with a sweep of both hands. Fireballs shot toward us one after another, setting several wooden cabins ablaze. The other was a modified brute with monstrous strength, able to smash stone walls barehanded. Several mutant wolves were killed by a single punch from him. The Golden Wing envoy and I clashed in midair. His swordwork was viciously sharp, every strike tearing through the air. I was fast, but the force from his blades still opened several cuts across my body. Black blood dripped onto the ground, instantly corroding small pits into it. "Spike, watch out!" Maisie's voice suddenly rang out. I turned and saw the Golden Wing envoy using my distraction to thrust his sword at my heart. I had no time to dodge, so I could only take it head-on. With a sickening thrust, the giant sword pierced my dragon's scales and drove deep into my body. "Spike!" Maisie screamed and ran over, her eyes instantly turning pale blue. A powerful surge of psychic force erupted from her and slammed hard into the Golden Wing envoy. The Golden Wing envoy grunted, staggered back a few steps, and looked shocked. I did not expect this little girl's psychic power to be so strong. "Perfect. I will bring her to the Alliance leader, and he will reward me handsomely." He reached out to grab Maisie. Enduring the agony, I yanked the giant sword from my body and bit down on his arm. Then I pumped every drop of venom into him. The Golden Wing envoy screamed as his arm rotted at a visible speed. Furious, he kicked me flying, and I slammed heavily into the ground. I coughed up a huge mouthful of black blood. "Spike?" Maisie threw herself beside me, held my head, and sobbed. "Please do not die. Spike, please do not die." "I'm okay," I said weakly, reaching out to wipe the tears from her face. Only then did I realize I did not even have the strength to lift a claw. "You are all going to die. I will tear you to pieces." Clutching his rotting arm, the Golden Wing envoy stared at us with vicious eyes. He raised his giant sword, about to bring it down on us. Just then, a white figure shot out from the woods nearby. It sank its teeth into the Golden Wing envoy's other arm. It was Snowy, a snow-white fox no bigger than a palm. Her parents had been killed by the Blackwind Syndicate. Maisie had found her during a hunting trip and brought her home. Snowy was deeply attached to Maisie, always scampering after her wherever she went. She would rub Maisie's hand with her fluffy tail. Maisie even made her a tiny pink outfit, and Snowy wore it every day. She never wanted to take it off. "Get off me!" The Golden Wing envoy angrily shook his arm, flinging Snowy far away and smashing her into a rock. She spat out a mouthful of blood. Her pink outfit was torn, and her snow-white fur was smeared with dust and blood. But she still struggled to her feet and lunged at the Golden Wing envoy again. "Snowy, do not go!" Maisie screamed, her voice tearing with grief. But Snowy acted as if she had not heard, biting hard into the Golden Wing envoy's pant leg and refusing to let go. Humiliated and furious, the Golden Wing envoy stomped down on Snowy. There was a crack as bone shattered. Snowy gave a faint whimper. Then her little body collapsed softly to the ground and never moved again. Her eyes were still open, gazing toward Maisie. Her tiny paw was still tightly clutching a pink petal. "Snowy!" Maisie let out a hopeless scream and fainted. I stared at Snowy's body on the ground, and a rage I had never felt before surged from the depths of my heart. My eyes turned blood red, and the obsidian dragon serpent bloodline inside me burned wildly. Power erupted from me like a volcano. Ding! Host extreme rage detected. Bloodline rampage triggered. All attributes temporarily increased tenfold. Temporary skill awakened. Blood prison venom dragon. I shot up from the ground, moving so fast I left after images behind. Before the Golden Wing envoy could react, I sank my teeth into his neck. "No, impossible," the Golden Wing envoy gasped, his eyes going wide. Disbelief twisted across his face. I wrenched hard, and with a crack, snapped his neck. Then I released him, and his corpse crashed heavily to the ground. Right after that, I charged at the remaining Celestial Alliance troops. At that moment, I was like a savage beast that had crawled straight out of hell. Wherever I passed, flesh and blood flew, and screams rose one after another. In less than 10 minutes, every Celestial Alliance member was wiped out. As the Bloodline rampage slowly faded, I collapsed to the ground and blacked out again. I do not know how long passed before I slowly opened my eyes. I found myself lying on a familiar bed, with Maisie slumped beside it. Her eyes were red and swollen like walnuts. She was still clutching Snowy's torn pink outfit, tears falling onto it one drop at a time. "Spike, you are awake." When Maisie saw I was awake, she smiled at once, but her tears still kept falling. "You were unconscious for 3 whole days. I was so scared. I thought I would never see you again." "Where is Snowy?" I asked softly, my voice terribly hoarse. Maisie's smile vanished instantly, and her tears fell even harder. She loved the peach blossoms by that tree. Every spring, so many pink peach blossoms would bloom in that place. A sharp pain stabbed through my heart. That tiny snow-white fox had always been there whenever Maisie was upset. She would rub Maisie's face with her fluffy tail, and whenever I trained, she would quietly curl up on my tail and sleep. And at mealtimes, she always saved the best meat in her bowl for Maisie. But now she would never come back. "I am sorry. I failed to protect her," I said, full of guilt. "It is not your fault." Maisie shook her head, wiped her tears, and her eyes grew firm. "Snowy died protecting us. We have to become stronger. We cannot let this happen again. We have to avenge Snowy and everyone the Celestial Alliance has killed." I nodded. We had won this battle, but the price had been brutal. More than 20 villagers and a dozen mutant beasts had died. Many homes in the valley had been burned down. Worst of all, we had lost our sweet Snowy. Just then, Bruno walked in holding a black box. "Boss, we found this on the Golden Wing Envoy." I took the box and opened it. Inside were a black token and a letter. The token bore a golden Tian insignia, while the letter described the Celestial Alliance's next move. In half a month, Alliance leader Vale would personally lead 500 elites to flatten Beast Haven Valley. They would capture Maisie and me alive. Half a month? I frowned. That was far too soon. Vale was far stronger than the Golden Wing Envoy. We were no match for him. "Then, what do we do?" Bruno said anxiously. "Maybe we should move again. Hide even deeper in the mountains." "It is no use." I shook my head. "If the Celestial Alliance found us here, they can find us anywhere we hide. Running will not solve this. We have to face them head on." I picked up the letter and studied it carefully. Suddenly, I noticed a tiny mark at the end. It was a crooked little W mark. Captain Warren. My heart jolted. This was Captain Warren's mark. He had used this same mark when he left me notes before. I quickly flipped the letter over and saw several small lines written on the back in invisible ink. I dripped venom onto it, and the writing slowly appeared. "The Celestial Alliance leader's real name is Vale. He is a mad scientist. He transformed himself into a half-machine, half-human monster. His core unit is in his chest. His weakness is psychic power. As long as you attack his core unit with strong psychic force, you can destroy him." In Lab 307, on the 3rd basement level of Celestial Alliance headquarters, I hid a psychic amplifier blueprint and some confidential Celestial Alliance files. I hope they can help you. Also, Vale is paranoid by nature. He has filled headquarters with layers of traps. Be careful. Captain Warren. I stared at those lines, a storm of emotions churning in my chest. So Captain Warren had known about the Celestial Alliance all along, and had been ready to sacrifice himself from the start. He had been investigating the Alliance in secret, leaving us the key clue to defeat Vale. Maisie saw the writing too. "Captain Warren," she whispered, and her tears fell again. "He really was a good man." I nodded and carefully put the letter away. We could not let Captain Warren's sacrifice be in vain. Now we had two choices. First, stay here and wait for the Celestial Alliance to attack. Second, strike first, infiltrate Celestial Alliance headquarters, and find the psychic amplifier blueprint, then seize the chance to assassinate Vale. "I think striking first is better," Bruno said. "If we wait here, we'll just be sitting ducks. And if 500 Celestial Alliance elites come here, Beast Haven Valley will be destroyed. We fought too hard to build this home. We cannot just lose it. But Celestial Alliance headquarters must be heavily guarded. It is too dangerous," Maisie said worriedly. "And Vale is so cunning. What if this is a trap he set for us?" "Of course it is dangerous." I looked at Maisie and said seriously, "It is dangerous, but this is our only chance. If we wait for Vale to bring his army here, we will not stand a chance. Bruno and I will go to Celestial Alliance headquarters. You stay here and protect the villagers." "No." Maisie shook her head at once. "I am going with you. My psychic power can help you. And Captain Warren's letter said Vale's weakness is psychic power. If I go with you, I can make the biggest difference. I want revenge for Snowy and Captain Warren too." Looking into Maisie's determined eyes, I knew I could not talk her out of it. Besides, the psychic amplifier would only work properly with the psychic Esper. Maisie coming with us really was essential. All right, I nodded. Then we go together. But you have to promise me you will stay close and not run off. If danger comes, you hide behind me immediately. Okay, I promise. Maisie nodded hard, a happy smile appearing on her face. Over the next few days, we began preparing. I handed Beast Haven Valley's affairs over to Bianca Snow, Leela Thorne, and Mason Ironwood. I also left several stronger mutant beasts behind to protect the villagers. Mason Ironwood prepared plenty of weapons and ammunition for us, along with compressed rations and water. Bianca Snow prepared many herbs and antidotes for us. She especially packed antidotes for mechanical toxin. Before we left, Maisie, Bruno, and I went to the peach tree on the back hill. Tender green grass had already grown in front of Snowy's grave. Maisie placed a freshly picked bouquet of peach blossoms before it. Then she gently laid the mended pink outfit over the little mound. Snowy, we are going to avenge you. Maisie whispered. Wait for us. We will kill Ethan Vale. Everyone who hurt you will pay. When we come back, we will plant peach blossoms all over this hillside for you. I rubbed my head against the grave mound and silently said, Snowy, do not worry. I will protect Maisie, and I will avenge you. Then we turned and left Beast Haven Valley, setting out towards Celestial Alliance headquarters. According to the map found on the Golden Wing Envoy, Celestial Alliance headquarters was built deep in the snowy mountains of the far north. Snow covered it year-round, temperatures sank dozens of degrees below freezing, and almost no one ever went there. We traveled north for about 10 days before finally reaching the foot of the snow mountains. The temperature had already dropped to -30, and everything was a blinding white. The freezing wind cut across our faces like knives, stinging fiercely. It is so cold. Maisie wrapped her down jacket tight around herself, her little face red with cold, then the tip of her nose turning purple. I quickly coiled my body around her to warm her up. My body held a steady heat, like a big furnace. Bruno moved in too, using his thick fur to block the bitter wind. Hang in there a little longer. We are almost there, I said softly, gently patting her back with my tail. We continued deeper into the snow mountains. The farther we went, the deeper the snow became. In some places, it even rose past Bruno's knees. Worse, the mountains were full of vicious mutant snow beasts. Every so often, one would charge out and attack us. At noon that day, we were trudging through the snow with difficulty. Suddenly, the snow beneath our feet split open. A huge mutant snow leopard burst out of the snow and lunged straight at Maisie. The snow leopard was over 3 meters long, its fur pure white and blending perfectly into the snow. Its claws were sharp as steel blades, and one bite could crush bone. Look out, I shouted, shoved Maisie aside, and threw myself forward to meet it. The snow leopard bit into my shoulder, its sharp teeth piercing my dragon scales. Blood gushed out instantly. I endured the pain, bit into the leopard's neck, and injected venom into its body. The snow leopard struggled a few times, released its bite, and backed away. Its eyes filled with wariness. It had not expected my scales to be so hard, or my venom to be so potent. Who are you? Why are you attacking us? I asked through telepathic communication. I could sense no malice in the snow leopard's eyes, only anger and caution. The snow leopard froze for a moment, then answered through telepathy. This is my territory. You humans are all evil. The Celestial Alliance killed my children. I will kill every human for revenge. So that was it. A wave of sympathy rose in my heart. Another poor soul whose family had been destroyed by the Celestial Alliance. We are not with the Celestial Alliance, I said. We are heading to Celestial Alliance headquarters for revenge. The Celestial Alliance killed our friend too. We are going to kill Ethan Vale. We will avenge everyone he murdered. The snow leopard looked at me, then at Maisie and Bruno behind me. The hostility in her eyes slowly faded. She lowered her head and let out a low growl toward me. I am sorry. I misunderstood you. The snow leopard said, the Celestial Alliance killed my 2 children. They also captured my husband for experiments. I cannot beat them alone. You are strong. Can I follow you? I want revenge. I looked at her, and something stirred in my heart. This snow leopard was powerful, incredibly fast, and built for fighting in the snow. If I could recruit her, our strength would jump by a lot. Besides, she had a blood feud with the Celestial Alliance. She would never betray us. All right, I accept, I said. From now on, follow me. I will help you get revenge. Your name will be Snow Shadow. Snow Shadow. Good. From now on, I am Snow Shadow. The snow leopard said happily, circling around us several times. Detected. Mutant Beast has willingly submitted. Established soul brand. Yes. Soul brand established successfully. Soul link communication is now available. Betrayal is impossible. With Snow Shadow joining us, the journey became much smoother. Snow Shadow knew the snowy mountains well, including the dangerous spots and the shortcuts. Under her guidance, we avoided many deadly ice crevices and mutant snow beast territories. Our pace picked up a lot. That evening, we finally saw the outline of Celestial Alliance headquarters. It was a massive steel fortress built halfway up the snowy mountain. Barbed wire and high-voltage fences surrounded it, while armed guards patrolled the entrance. Several surveillance drones circled above the fortress, monitoring every movement nearby. Security is seriously tight. Bruno whispered, "How are we supposed to get in? Forcing our way indefinitely will not work." I activated the life detection radar and carefully scanned the fortress structure. I found an abandoned ventilation duct behind the fortress. Its entrance was blocked by a thick iron plate, and there were no security cameras there. There were very few guards too. "Follow me." I led Maisie, Bruno, and Snow Shadow round to the back of the fortress. Sure enough, there was a ventilation duct over a meter wide, its entrance sealed by an iron plate. Bruno wrenched hard and tore the iron plate off. One by one, we crawled into the duct. It was pitch black inside, thick with the smell of dust and rust. We crawled through the ventilation duct for about an hour before finally reaching the area. Above the third basement level, I gently lifted a vent cover with my tail and looked down. Inside, many scientists in white lab coats were busily conducting experiments. All kinds of mutant animals were caged on the lab tables, each one injected with drugs. They writhed in agony, letting out piercing cries. "This is too cruel," Maisie whispered, her eyes full of anger. "These people have no humanity at all." My whole body tensed with anger too. The Celestial Alliance was even more deranged than the Blackwind Syndicate. They treated living animals as test subjects, carrying out every kind of inhuman experiment, all to create stronger weapons and rule the entire world. We quietly dropped from the ventilation duct and hid behind a cabinet. I activated the radar and found Lab 307 at the end of the corridor. "Come on, let us get the blueprint." I led them carefully toward Lab 307. Along the way, we avoided patrolling guards and security cameras. We reached the door of Lab 307 without trouble. I melted the lock with venom, pushed the door open, and went inside. The lab was packed with files, blueprints, and experimental equipment. Following Captain Warren's letter, I found the psychic amplifier blueprint inside a safe. There was also a USB drive, probably holding the Celestial Alliance's confidential files. "Found it," I said happily, putting away the blueprint and USB drive. Just then, the lab door suddenly slammed shut. The lights flared on, so blinding we could barely open our eyes. A cold voice came through the loudspeaker. "Welcome to Celestial Alliance headquarters, Mr. Obsidian Dragon Serpent. I have been waiting for you for a long time." My heart jolted, and I immediately shielded Maisie behind me. Bruno and Snow Shadow took attack stances too, warily scanning the room. Then the lab walls slowly opened, and Vale stepped out from within. He wore a white lab coat, looked to be in his 50s, and had graying hair. A pair of gold-rimmed glasses sat on his face. If we had not known who he was, no one would have guessed. This refined, scholarly-looking man was actually the leader of the Celestial Alliance, a demon with blood on his hands. "How did you know we would come?" I asked coldly. I deliberately allowed Captain Warren to operate as an undercover informant. Vale smiled, his tone smug. He thought he was investigating me. In truth, every move he made was under my control. I let him pass you false weakness intel on purpose, just to lure you into my trap. What? My eyes widened, and a chill swept through my heart. So we had fallen into Vale's trap from the very beginning. Still, I should thank you. Vale continued. "Thank you for getting rid of that useless golden wing envoy from me. He had wanted to betray me for ages, and I was looking for an excuse to kill him. And the psychic power of that little girl beside you is simply perfect. As long as I extract her psychic power and inject it into my core unit, I will become the most powerful person in this world. Then the entire world will kneel at my feet." With that, he swept his hand sharply. Dozens of espers and modified humans in black combat suits rushed in from every direction. They surrounded us completely. "Bruno, Snow Shadow, protect Maisie," I shouted and lunged straight at Vale. Vale gave a cold laugh, and the clothing over his chest suddenly split open. A blue-lit metal core was exposed beneath it. His arm instantly transformed into a sharp metal blade and slashed toward me. Vale and I clashed in a brutal fight. He was far stronger than the Golden Wing Envoy, and his body had been mechanically modified. My venom barely affected him. My attacks only left shallow scratches across his body. His speed and strength were far beyond mine. After only a few exchanges, he had forced me back again and again, leaving several fresh wounds on me. Bruno and Snow Shadow were fighting those espers and modified humans too. Bruno had monstrous strength, but they had the numbers, and he was soon losing ground. Several blades had already cut into him. Snow Shadow was fast, weaving through the enemies and striking at their weak points. But an ice-wielding esper froze one of her legs. Maisie used her psychic power against the espers, slowing their movements. But her psychic strength was not enough yet. She could not hurt Ethan Vale. "It's no use. You are no match for me," Ethan Vale said smugly, then drove a punch into my stomach. I was sent flying into the wall and spat out a mouthful of blood. "Spike?" Maisie cried out and ran over, trying to help me up. Ethan Vale seized the chance, lunging at Maisie and reaching for her head. "No," I shouted in despair. Just then, the laboratory door suddenly blew open. A familiar figure rushed in, gripping a submachine gun. He sprayed bullets wildly at Ethan Vale. "Captain Warren." My eyes went wide. I could not believe what I was seeing. Captain Warren wore a black combat suit, a scar slashed across his face. He kept firing as he shouted, "Spike, get Maisie out of here. I will hold him off." "Captain Warren, you are alive," I said, shocked and overjoyed. "If I were dead, who would kill this bastard?" Captain Warren shouted, "Ethan Vale has two core units. One is in his chest, and the other is in his brain. Only by destroying both cores at the same time can you kill him for good. The psychic amplifier blueprint is real. I added a hidden program to it. It can boost the amplifier's power tenfold." Ethan Vale had not expected Captain Warren to be alive. His face went livid. "Traitor, I will kill you." He lunged viciously at Captain Warren. Captain Warren dodged fast, but Ethan Vale's metal blade still sliced his arm. "Spike, get Maisie out of here. I planted explosives throughout headquarters. They will blow in 10 minutes. Captain Warren shouted as he pulled a remote from his jacket. "I will take this bastard down with me." "No, Captain Warren, we go together," I shouted. "There is no time." Captain Warren smiled, his eyes filled with release. "My brother's death will finally be avenged. Spike, take care of Maisie. Take care of everyone in Beast Haven Valley. From now on, this world is in your hands." With that, he slammed the remote button. Then he threw himself at Ethan Vale and locked him in a death grip. "No." Ethan Vale let out a desperate scream. "Run!" Captain Warren shouted at us. I gritted my teeth. Knowing this was no time to hesitate, I scooped up Maisie and shouted to Bruno and Snow Shadow, "We move." We rushed out of the lab and raced toward the ventilation duct. A massive explosion thundered behind us, and the whole fortress shook violently. I looked back and saw Lab 307 had become a sea of fire. Captain Warren and Ethan Vale were left there forever. "Captain Warren," Maisie murmured from my back, tears sliding silently down her face. A wave of grief hit me too. Captain Warren had bought our escape with his own life. He had also avenged everyone murdered by the Celestial Alliance. We followed the ventilation duct and escaped Celestial Alliance headquarters as fast as we could. We had not gone far when a chain of huge explosions erupted behind us. The entire steel fortress instantly became an inferno, black smoke rolling into the sky. Watching those roaring flames, I finally felt the breath in my chest ease. Snowy, Captain Warren, and everyone murdered by the Celestial Alliance and the Blackwind Syndicate, you have finally been avenged. We set out on the road back to Beast Haven Valley. Along the way, the sun shone bright, and the ice and snow melted. Tender green grass had already sprouted through the roadside snow. Spring was coming. When we returned to Beast Haven Valley, every villager came out to welcome us. When they heard we had destroyed the Celestial Alliance, they cheered and treated us like heroes. In the days that followed, we began rebuilding our home. Mason Ironwood led a team and followed the psychic amplifier blueprint to build the first working psychic amplifier. After Maisie put on the amplifier, her psychic power became incredibly strong. She could even communicate with animals 1,000 miles away and create solid psychic shields. Beast Haven Valley grew more and more prosperous. More humans and mutant animals came here, living together in peace and building stable lives. We built schools, a clinic, and shops in the valley so children could study without fear. The adults could work in peace. The valley rang with laughter everywhere, with no more war or slaughter. One day, Maisie, Bruno, Snow Shadow, and I went to the peach tree on the back mountain. Pink peach blossoms bloomed all around Snowy's grave. When the wind blew, petals drifted down like a fall of pink snow. Maisie placed a bouquet of peach blossoms before the grave and whispered, "Snowy, we are doing well now. No one will ever bully us again. I planted a whole hillside of peach trees for you every spring." This place will be full of blossoms. They will be beautiful just like you. I rubbed my head against the back of Maisie's hand and silently said, Snowy, Captain Warren, rest easy. I will always protect Maisie, Beast Haven Valley, and this warm home of ours. Bruno scratched his head too and said in his deep, muffled voice, Snowy, Captain Warren, I will come visit you often from now on. I will bring Snowy's favorite strawberries and Captain Warren's favorite liquor. Snow Shadow lowered her head as well and gave a low growl toward the grave, as if paying her respects. The sun was setting, and golden light spilled over us, stretching our shadows long across the ground. I lifted my head, looked at the deep blue sky, and felt happiness fill my heart. Although I had been reborn as a snake, I had gained something more precious than being human. I had the best friends, family to protect, and a warm home. The days ahead are still long, and I will stay here with Maisie, Bruno, Snow Shadow, and all our companions in Beast Haven Valley, living happily together, forever.